actually this week ain't even about you or something that you've been through, but it's something you read. So
not, isn't it? Yeah. You know, you introduce it. You send me the article. You talk about the article, and I'll give you the perspective. What did you glean from the article from GQ magazine?
So, article is about leg lengthening, and it's done in men. So, leg lengthening surgeries are becoming more and more of a thing. It's a cosmetic surgery where... Is it cosmetic, Aaron? Is that correct? Before I go any further?
Yeah. Well, I think what we're talking about definitely is this aesthetic, whereas there is a prehistoric indication. So, for example, if you're born with a medical condition that meant you had one leg which is shorter than the other, okay, so what it talks about in the article is a older version
corrective.
of... Right, exactly. It's a corrective, not aesthetic or cosmetic, as it were. So there's a need. You can kind of make the case there's more of a need for that, whereas this is purely... But then, you know, it depends how you look at it, isn't it? If somebody says, well, actually, you know, my mental health is really bad because I'm short, because I don't have the confidence to do X, Y, Z. By doing that, then your mental health improves. Is it cosmetic?
I'd still say it's cosmetic because it's done for reasons that are not actually done to direct your physical health. So if something cosmetically improves your mental, that's different. But sticking to strictly physical principles, this is cosmetic. Fair?
But no, but that's my point. Are people doing it for that reason? A lot of stuff I read
can dive
in there
into
was
that
about...
in a sec. I'm still introducing it.
Go on, Karen.
Yeah. So that's all it basically is. It's men having that done professionally by surgeons. The market for this exploded during COVID because people were at home, so they could have the surgery done without other people realizing it. And it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's kind of freaky. So, Garan, take it away.
Yeah, man, it's pretty odd. So if we talk, prehistoric, like we said, if corrective surgery, you have abnormal leg length, I can understand that, right? And that kind of surgery was basically so you'd break the bone, controlled breakage of a bone. And then what you do is the broken bits of bone are all pinned. So think of like in your lower leg, around your lower leg, having a cage. Right? So you got a cage around your leg, and we have what we call external fixation. So you have a nail which goes into the bone and keeps that bone from moving. So then you've got gaps between the bone. Then what the bone will do is form new bone in between, which therefore, when it all reforms, you've got a longer length of bone. That's kind of the old way of doing it. Obviously very painful. Now, this newer technique doesn't use that. It uses magnets. And it is obviously still about breaking the bone and then putting in titanium bits to lengthen, which can then be sort of extended. And I read you can add between 3 foot and 6. No, 3 foot and 6 foot? Was it inches? Ooh.
6 inches. 3 to 6 inches.
It was that, wasn't it? It wasn't feet. Can't have been feet.
3 to 6 inches. Yeah.
Fucking
hell, feet. Going 3 to 6 feet.
I was thinking, I was like 6 feet.
Giant people out here.
That's big. Yeah, that makes much more sense. So they were saying if you want to add the 3, which is obviously the cheaper option, the more inches you add, the more expensive it becomes. Then it's breaking the top, which is the femur, the longest bone in the body. Whereas if you also want to, if you want to get taller, then you also then have to break the bottom as well, the tib fib. But, it's not I don't know, man. I think, the investment, you're looking 60 to 75 grand starting.
75 grand starting, I think. Yeah.
Right? Up to like 150, 160. And like the guy they were talking about in the article who'd had this done. Yeah. It's like he wasn't like a baller or anything. He had agreed to pay it back on a monthly basis for 5 years. And I think it was more than $1,000 a month. Like someone's mortgage. And I was like, yo, you got to have a lot of surplus cash, or you really got to, think this is going to be a benefit. And then the other thing, which, again, they presented it in the article, which I thought was really interesting, is remember, you're lengthening the legs. You're not lengthening the body or the arms. So the proportion, so it says there, basically, if you're naked, or if your clothes are off, you're going to look...
You're naked, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to look really weird. Like, people who see you, like, your arms are still short. Like, if I had it, right? So I'm I don't know how tall I am. I'm 5'4", 5'5", something like that. If I had it done, imagine you become 6 foot tall, but my arms and chest are still the same size. That's just weird, man. Right? Then I look like some lanky guy. That would be so
funny. I'm sorry. I'll be like, why are your legs so long and the rest of your body?
Right.
It's not exactly.
It'll be like, oh, why are your trousers like all the way up here? And if you look at in the article, they've got a really good thing when they actually show X-rays. I think it's normal person or the same person had the thing done at the top, the 3 inches, and then the 6 inches.
The pre and post. Yeah.
Right, but there's 2 images, right? And if you look closely, Indy, I want you to look at this because you're not medical. Actually, have you got it open?
I've got it open on my phone. Hang on, give me a sec. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, open it.
So, guys, if you want to just follow along, the website article's on GQ magazine. It's called "Inside the World of Leg Lengthening." All right, so type it in. Yeah, go on. Anyway, carry on. Yeah, so I've got the images here. Yeah,
perfect. Let
me just let the camera focus. Actually, that might help.
Yeah, go on.
I'll do that. Will the camera focus?
It's trying, isn't it?
It won't focus. All right, go on. Yeah.
So image 1, you can obviously see the normal bone, yeah? No, nothing's been done.
Yeah.
What I want you to focus on is the distance from the bone to the edge. You'll be able to appreciate the muscle, basically outside of the bone, that kind of whitey loose shadow, right? Now compare that, the sort of the width of that or the chunkiness of that to the next 2 images. Look what happens. What do you notice?
Yeah, it's shrunk a lot. That means he's had a lot of atrophy, muscle atrophy.
Absolutely, man. He's lost loads of muscle because he's obviously inactive. And if you look at the last image, now look at the knees. What's happening to the knees? They're going inwards, aren't they?
The knees have caved in, which means...
Right, you've got to knock knees.
He's got flat feet, which means he's lost so much muscle in his body that his legs are going in.
Yeah, is that what you want to look like? You're standing tall, but you have these skinny-ass legs with no muscle? Like, it's not a good look.
And also, if you look closer, in between where the prosthetic part of the leg is, you can see that big ass gap missing in the middle.
Yeah. So it's a lot of money, a lot of recovery time, right? And the guy was talking about how he's on so many painkillers and he's supposed to be on crutches and da. Because remember, this is what we call controlled trauma. Like the guy says in there, he goes, what you're doing is the same thing you would do-ish for someone who's had a car accident.
Yeah, or someone who's been hit by a bus.
Right? Like, let that sink in. Voluntarily doing this. So the question now is, then it talks about how, is this playing God? And, that kind of argument comes into it. And it's, should this treatment be available? Right? And the problem is, once you make something available, irrespective of the price tag, somebody's always going to buy it, man. There's always going to be this need that's created. Should it be available? That's the question.
In respect of the price tag, I'd say no. I think if you have a price tag, think of how many short people there are in the world, and the price tag is going to be something that pre-qualifies you. You are limiting your pool somewhat depending on price tag, because that's based on income. Even if you do, I don't know, a 10-year payment back plan, that's still going to eliminate some people. So price point does do that. I don't completely agree. I'm not bothered about the playing God thing. I'm more bothered about just how physically it's affecting you. And also, you're just going to look like an idiot. If you're doing this for, say, to impress other people, and they see you with shorts on, they're like, why are your legs so long? And then the questions are going to be asked, like, I have my legs lengthened. And people will prejudge you on that. They're not going to not judge you. They'll be like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I guess, but in that kind of aesthetic world, there are a lot of things that people can do, and maybe when they're first conceived, they weren't accepted wholly, and now they just, like lip fillers, man. Lip filler Botox is just, right? Same with breast enlargement. Like, maybe when it started, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe you've done that. And now it's just a sort of accepted practice. Like, okay. People, you kind of just get over it, and you're like, okay, that's what you've done. I guess the other thing, all those things we mentioned are mainly in women. It's a kind of accepted thing that women will want to improve the way they look. But what do men? Okay, the big thing for men is hair, isn't it? Hair transplants. That's the kind of one I'd say is accepted, like wholly.
Or laser. I get laser. Yes. I'll say I've got laser on my cheeks. Like it's a thing, man. Yeah.
Again, it's accepted, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would say it's more wholly accepted. That and the hair thing. But yeah, leg lengthening. Yeah, it just seems like. Yeah, I even said to Shindy, because I read the article and I said, hypothetically, would you want me to get this done? No. What did I say? Would you ever want me to get this done? Is there ever a scenario, right, where this would be appealing? I know her answer was no, but I just wanted to.
Because you're already taller than her. So why would she want you to be even more taller than her?
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. Maybe I was thinking from a personal perspective.
That's the first thing I would have thought. Why didn't you think of it that way?
No, but I never think about, oh, is there like an optimal difference in height between, husband and wife? Yeah, you want to be taller, but
there
then
is
what
optimal.
Yeah. I didn't think of it like that. I was just like, oh, when I imagine if I was 6 foot tall, would that be a problem for you?
Every couple's different, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, and then I was thinking about, is there ever a scenario I would have considered that? No, not really. Look, had there been something which is more like you take a supplement, okay, I would have been open to that when I was younger.
When you were younger, pre-Shindy, because she's accepted you for who you are. It's not really worth getting done, is it?
Like, what's his name? Lionel Messi, he was on some sort of growth hormone.
He was on growth hormones, from a young age, sponsored by Pape or by Barcelona. So, yeah.
Yeah, because he was small, wasn't he? I mean, he's not big now, is he? So Tiny. You can only imagine how small he was. Yeah. So, yeah, something like that I probably could have considered. But, yeah, man, the whole aesthetic game is just a very interesting thing, because it comes back to that central point which you said at the start. What is the intention? Okay. So I'm at the kind of point where it's not for me to judge what anyone else does, whether it's a nose job, breast enlargement, this lengthening, Botox filler, right? And I ran a business in Botox and fillers for a while, but I sold it. And the reason we walked away, for me personally, was when it was going well and we wanted to scale, we went to a marketer, Indy, and we said, look, this guy I really respected. I was like, we need you to run ads. Yeah, because we can just like scale this massively. And he agreed to do it. And we're like, oh, wicked, man, this is going to be game changer. And then like 2 days after he rang me, he's like, no, I can't do it. And I was like, okay. And I really respect this guy. So I was like, what is your reason? Like, I need to know. And he said, so I think he had a sister with, I think she had special needs. And he basically said, look, I don't want to live in a world one day where the default position, the status quo, is that everybody has filler and Botox. Right? That becomes the norm. You're not the minority, right? And that my sister feels that she is the anomaly. And therefore, to conform, she has to get this done. He said, I don't want to live in that world. And it hit me with so, like, it was such a profound statement. And I was just like, I sat there and I was like, why are we doing this? I thought about the original reasons why we went to Botox and filler. And primarily it was, I saw Dr. Leah talking to it on The Apprentice. And I was like, yo, good business, good earner. I can do this. Easy. Right? That's pretty much it. But reflecting on it now and thinking, did I get enjoyment from doing it? Were the clients happy? Compared to, say...
Were they ever happy?
Well, here's the thing that we learned. When we ran offers that targeted a older population, so we had a clientele of professionals who wanted Botox, never haggled, regulars, very happy because their expectation was realistic. Once we realized that, we only ever ran offers for them. We ran no offers on lips. We just didn't want it because that population, sadly, the younger generation, the ones that are much more likely to have body dysmorphia, are just never happy. And that's where we'd have problems. Not to the point where people making claims or suing, nothing like that. But, just generally like expectation was just
wearing on someone's self-esteem, young age, impressionable, all those things.
Right? I was like, when I'm in hospital, I help someone, they're genuinely thankful. There was genuine gratitude. I was like, I don't get that from this. I was like, this for me now I'm not helping people, and that's the reason why I walked away. So
I'm glad someone helped you see sense, man.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong in practitioners or clinicians doing it, but I always give the advice. They always ask me like, why did you do this? And any advice on setting up. I'm like, if you're going to do it, you must do it for the right reasons. Right? And you have to be very clear, because if this is just pure money making, and we know that, and we say that you should enjoy what you do, it's not just about the money, but more so I'd say in this industry, because it is very, involved. You obviously put needles and things in people's faces. So yeah, what about you? What are your thoughts on the aesthetic industry as a whole?
Personally, I'm not a fan of it. I hate how every single person out there who's a woman has to look like Kim K, and they all end up looking the fucking same. Even makeup artists, they do the same thing. They make people look the same. They look exactly like Kim K. It's silly. And I'm just like, just be yourself, be happy with who you are. I get that's different. I get that's difficult. I get everyone has their own struggles with it. We've all got trauma. We've all got shit to deal with. It's not linear by any stretch of the imagination. But I don't like how the world is becoming this fixation on like filters and shit. Dude, it's getting so extreme that people are getting like, people are wishing their eyes were larger, like how they are on a Snapchat filter, because it makes them look better. And I'm thinking, you want to make your eyes larger? If that was a thing, people would fucking do it. And I'm just thinking, this is wrong. It doesn't need to be like this. Just genuinely be happy with how you look. That's a real hard thing for people to swallow and accept. And people are going to call me a hypocrite because I get laser. Yeah, fair play. Go ahead. I'm doing that because I didn't like how my hair was growing so high on my cheeks, and I wanted to pull it down a level to make it look normal, but what I used to have. That's different. So in my eyes, it's different anyway. You guys may have a different opinion. I don't like this world and how it's fixated on looks. And I think social media has amplified it. But back in the day, all you had to look at was magazines. Now it's everywhere you look. That's the distinction and difference. And fair enough, ad companies are trying to nail down on it and stop people from bidding on these keywords and shit like that, which is another reason probably why it would have been difficult for the guy to take on your old business going in aesthetics, because it's hard to advertise those things correctly under Facebook's policy. That was years ago. I'm sure it's stricter now. I still think it's always with the wrong intentions. And I'll level with you. When I was doing the work for you initially, the video work, I was getting a bit uncomfortable. I was like, I don't know if I like this, because I was thinking the similar thing of like morals. I was like, I don't agree with this. Like, my heart's not really in it. Fair enough. Other stuff that I was doing for you, the medical stuff, was actually helping people qualify for their degree. Completely different. Yeah, this was, this person's having work done on themselves, and they're probably, I'm judging here, they may not be on like a massive amount of money, but they're putting a lot of money towards this treatment because they think it will make them feel better. And it just made me feel a certain way about it. Anyway, that's my 2 pence.
Yeah. No, these are all very valid points. And what I say, though, is to a lot of people, look, if you're thinking about doing it, just do it, man. You need to understand and reflect on things. And like in most things in life, you get clarity once you have feedback. And so I have zero kitsch or zero kind of like FOMO as to, I wish I could do that, or I wish I go back to that. No, zero. Doesn't serve my higher calling, my higher purpose, my ikigai, which is to help people. And it actually gives me a lot of clarity that when I take on projects. So podcast, right? Doing the podcast with you serves a higher purpose. For me, it's about that kind of journaling, getting everything off. But clearly we're helping people. And like you said, the messages reflect that. And we want maybe continue to serve our listeners.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sweet. I think that wraps it up. In a nutshell, Goran, tell me the negative impacts of having leg lengthening. Go. Very painful. No guarantee you're actually going to improve your mental health. You're going to have disproportion between the rest of your body and obviously your legs. Maybe harder for you to gain that muscle back. You could get knock knees, what we call a valgus deformity, which can lead to early osteoarthritis. And like with anything, I forgot this one. Any metalwork in the body is a source for infection. So at some point you may need revision surgery, right? It can become infected. You're not thinking about when you're older. What's the impact of that going to be? Yep. That's a lot of cost, man, and a lot of things to weigh up just to have a few inches added onto your body. Not in that way, people. Calm down. All right, we'll knock it there.